On the 29th of September, in Abuja, Nigeria, a convoy of armed robbers stormed into a 3-story apartment building and robbed every flat. A UK Nigerian citizen, Sommie Maduagwu, who lived on the 3rd floor, room 16, feared for her life, and she ran to a balcony to hide. And when the robbers broke into her apartment, in a desperate attempt to escape, she leaped off the balcony from a height equivalent to 2 stacked electric poles. And on her way to the hospital, she lost her life. Or at least, that's what we were told.
Regarding the circumstances surrounding the incident, armed robbers specifically gained access into unique apartments where Sommie lives. Sommie actually occupied an apartment on the topmost floor, and out of the fear, she jumped down.
Today, the Arise News family mourns the tragic loss. Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu.
The news spread online like a wildfire. But not everyone believed those truths. A few days later, a comment appeared online, one that quickly gained massive attention. This person, who claimed to be Sommie's neighbor, said that night they found Sommie outside, lying in a pool of blood, with no underwear. And yet, strangely, that version of events never appeared in any major news outlets. And that raised even more questions. Why was this version ignored? Then came what her father had said in an interview.
Somebody telling me that she jumped, and one of the other were claiming of holding her, and her weight was overwhelming for her, and she fell off. Looks funny, and believe my daughter Sommie was murdered.
He believed his daughter didn't just jump like that. There's something they're not telling us, something they're hiding. And that's when people discovered old tweets and messages from Sommie. Posts that sounded like someone who felt targeted or she was being watched. During the investigation, one suspect confessed he had tried holding Sommie from falling, but she slipped from his hands. Another suspect admitted to being paid 200,000 naira for the kill. And that's just about 134 American dollars. And when you piece this account together, the story stops sounding so simple.
She did not die on the spot, Dr. Abati. She went to the hospital and she was rejected.
She's a victim of Nigeria. Yes. Nigeria happened to her.
What truly happened? Why was room 16 all the way on the top floor the target? Did Sommie really jump? Did she know what was coming, as her own post suggested? Or was she running from something? Or someone? Join us as we uncover the hidden truth behind every moment. The drive-in, the CCTV footage, the crime scene, and the investigation. All reconstructed in 3D. Join us as we unveil the mystery behind the death of Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu. On Dark Truth Africa. Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu, known to many as Sommie, was born on December 26, 1995 in London, England, to Chukwudi and Ngozi Maduagwu, both professionals in the oil industry. Raised in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, she grew up in a middle-class home that valued culture, faith, and education. Her Igbo name, Somtochukwu, meaning God goes with me, and her Christian middle name, Christelle, perfectly mirrored the dual strength of her spirit. As the eldest of 3, Sommie was ambitious and outspoken right from childhood. She once told her parents that she would one day become the governor of Anambra State. She attended Montessori International and Presentation National High School before heading abroad to study. After briefly pursuing business economics, she switched to law from the University of Surrey and completing her legal training at the Nigerian Law School in Abuja. Her drive didn't end there. Sommie trained at the School of Politics and Policy under the governance of Obi Ezekwesili, and later emerged as the face of Zaron Cosmetics in 2020, a title that opened doors in modeling and media. In 2023, she became Miss Tourism World Nigeria, representing the country in China, and then used her platform to champion education for underprivileged children, women's rights, and fair treatment for pageant contestants. And by 2024, she transitioned into journalism, joining Arise News as a reporter and producer in Abuja. And within months, her bold, intelligent presence stood out. She became known for her coverage of law, women's advocacy, and the NGO work, using her voice to spotlight issues others ignored.
Today, the forum is making a commitment to ensure that more Nigerian girls are properly educated and that there are less children out of school in Nigeria. From the presidential villa, Sommie Maduagwu, Arise News.
And by 2025, Sommie had built an impressive career. A lawyer, a journalist, a model, and an advocate, with an estimated net worth of 50 to 150 million naira. Her story was one of brilliance and ambition. But with success came attention, and as her influence grew, so did the shadows around her. Was it just success or something she'd uncovered? Fast forward to September 29, 2025. It was an ordinary night in Katangbe, Abuja. Quiet, calm, uneventful. Sommie had returned home from work to her unique apartment. And few hours before the attack, Sommie made a tweet on Twitter, meaning she was still active and safe. Little did anyone know that would be her last tweet forever. At around 3:32 a.m., reports and calls were reaching out to the police station about a robbery going on in Katangbe. At 3 a.m., a convoy of armed robbers had crept towards the compound. 2 security guards were stationed by the gates, and one noticed the torchlights flickering in the dark. He stepped forward to check, and before he could raise an alarm, a gunshot echoed through the night. He fell instantly, and his partner ran for his life, and the robbers stormed in. By this time, tenants were already awake. They could hear the stomping feet of the robbers as they marched in. The robbery has begun. They divided themselves, moving from flat to flat, breaking through doors, collecting phones, cash, and whatever they could carry. The man reporting this issue was a site worker opposite this 18-flat-story building, as he feared for his own life. And when they mapped out the exact location, up on the top floor, flat 16, lived our Somtochukwu Maduagwu. She had moved into this compound just months earlier after her rise at the Arise TV. She reached out for her phone, perhaps trying to call for help or recall what was happening. But that night, she wasn't a journalist. She was a woman trapped 3 floors above the ground. The fear was unbearable. She knew help wasn't coming anytime soon. As the robbers drew closer, gunshots rang out again. Terrified, Sommie ran to her balcony, hoping to hide there. But when the robbers broke into her apartment, then they found her cornered at the balcony. They warned her not to do anything stupid, and in that moment, Sommie made a choice, a desperate one at that. She jumped 3 floors down, nearly 70 feet, the exact height of 2 electric poles stacked together, and her body hit the concrete ground floor with a sickening thud. By the time police arrived, they found 2 victims, the fallen security guard and Sommie, lying unconscious in a pool of. Report later claimed that the police had no fuel to rush Sommie and Barnabas, the security guard, to the hospital. Neighbors eventually carried her and the guard to Maitama General Hospital. Reports say the doctors requested for IDs of the victims before commencing treatment. But after a lot of pressure, doctors tried everything: CPR, oxygen, adrenaline, but it was too late. The young journalist who once told the nation stories had now become a story to tell. The security guard too, Barnabas, suffered the same fate. Both lives lost. September 30th, 8 a.m. The story was everywhere. Arise TV anchor in Abuja robbery. Tweet posts, reposts, voice notes, everything. The city was talking. Some said she jumped to escape the robbers. Others said she was pushed, while others whispered she was targeted. How could armed men operate in a gated estate for almost an hour and the police showed up only after they were gone? That morning, the FCT police arrived, but with questions, not answers. They marked the balcony, took photos, gathered bullet casing, IDs, and any evidence they could find. But for those who had spoken to Sommie just hours earlier, it didn't feel real. Even those who replied to her last tweets and messages couldn't believe she was gone. The estate residents were shaken. Some had to pack up that same day, others couldn't sleep. One of her neighbors, and also her close friend, the alleged neighbor who took Sommie and Barnabas to the hospital. He relocated abroad that same week, and he wrote online, "Omo, I can't wonder why I no get burglary for London. Make I go find welder tomorrow. Neighbors will think I have mental problem." Meaning he's going to weld an extra protector to his apartment there in London, just so he doesn't get to experience such fear again. The trauma was real. But beneath the grave, another question grew louder. Was this really a robbery, or was it something deeper? Something planned? Because if this was just about money, why did it last so long? How did they get into the estate in the first place, given that Katangbe is a top residential area in Abuja with uptight security? Yet the robbers entered, carried out their operation freely for hours and left. So many unanswered questions. The internet needed answers, and Nigerians began digging up through our old tweets, finding clues or whatever evidence they could find. And that's when they saw the tweet Sommie had made some months back. In the tweet, she said a prayer. "I hope Nigeria doesn't happen to me or anyone I care about." That phrase, "Nigerian happened," is a term used to describe bad luck or misfortune caused by a broken system in the country. And now it had happened to her. Sommie had every access to leave Nigeria, but her commitment to her work and her dream of reforming the girl child and women's rights in leadership made her stay back. Deep down, her earnest prayers was to see a better Nigeria. In fact, Sommie relocated from the UK back to Nigeria because of this.
Like me, I have dual citizenship as well. I'm British and I'm also Nigerian.
I moved to London at the end of my National Youth Service program, and I just felt very unfulfilled. I was making more money than I ever would in Nigeria, but I just felt very unfulfilled. So the kind of woman I want to be is definitely having positive impact in Nigeria. She's definitely taking up space. She's definitely not just talking about increasing female participation in politics. She's actually doing something to make that happen.
As if fate had already been written. But among the online reactions, one post stood out. There was a woman claiming to be Sommie's neighbor. She said she found Sommie lying outside in a pool of blood with no underwear. At first, many thought it was just another cloud-chasing post. But when we looked deeper, we found out she actually lived in the same neighborhood in Abuja. Her story began to match several details that were already public. The timing, the scene, the chaos that morning, everything. And with what the father had said,
Somebody telling me that she jumped and one of the other were claiming of holding her and her weight was overwhelming for her and she fell off. Looks funny and believe my daughter Sommie was murdered.
He believed Sommie didn't just jump. There's something they are not telling us, something they're hiding. People began to question the narrative they were told. Did Sommie really jump, or was there more that happened before that fall? Something they did not want us to know. And then we went to work, finding out every little details and connecting the dots. And from all the testimonies, reports, and fragments we gathered, we found out that there were two possible versions of what truly happened that night. One, that after hearing the gunshots, Sommie ran to the balcony, cornered by the robbers. Fearing that she might be assaulted, she tried to escape by leaping from the balcony, hoping to land with minor injuries, but only to land in a splat. But the second theory feels even more intense. We believe that after Sommie reached the balcony, she may have struggled with one of the robbers, the same one who later confessed that he tried to hold her from falling, but she was too heavy. According to this version of our research, in the middle of the struggle with the robber,
she might have broken free and fell off the balcony in panic,
then lost her balance mid-air and then crashed to the ground. Now, which of these do you think actually happened that night? Drop your thoughts in the comment section, because in the next chapter we'll uncover the official police investigation.
The condolence visit. Sommie passed on September 29, 2025. At Arise News, her colleagues broke down on air. Their trembling voices told it all. She was bright, passionate, full of life. Her colleagues from the Arise TV News were the first to visit her family in Port Harcourt the following day. A quiet, heartbreaking condolence visit. Reports said her father couldn't utter a word since the news of her death.
You can see how small we are looking at Sommie. Our daughter is small. You see the caliber of people who came because of her to tell us sorry.
You will not understand losing a child. When I saw the father of this lady, they said he couldn't talk because of the trauma. 29-year-old lady with such level of promise, beautiful and brilliant. She was not sick as to prepare anybody that she's departing, and just like that.
At Arise headquarters, a candlelight memorial was arranged in her honor. Soon, dignitaries across the nation poured in their tributes, like Peter Obi, Sanwo-Olu, Fubara, Charles Soludo, Ademola Adeleke, and countless others. While some turned it political, blaming the government and the police and even the Nigerian hospital.
Yes. Nigeria happened to her. They robbed every flat. They called the police. Police did not show up until after she had jumped out of her window, gotten injured, and had no emergency support. She was found alive by the police, but when she asked to be taken to the hospital, the police said they had no fuel in their car. Maybe if the police had not allowed their car to be stolen by a thief, maybe that car could have helped her to get to the hospital. Who knows? Exactly.
Others simply mourned the dreams cut short. Even the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, the First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, and the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, expressed their grief and ordered that there be a thorough investigation and ensuring that the culprits are brought to justice immediately. The news spread like a wildfire across Nigeria and beyond. The nation rose as one, united by a single cry: justice for Sommie. And now, all eyes turn to the Nigerian police. And just like that, the hunt has begun. The world was now watching as the Nigerian police moved to track down Sommie and Barnabas killers. Their first step, the CCTV footage. In it, you could hear Sommie's terrified scream for help. The clip captured the recordings of the desperate moment before she fell. Investigators replayed it over and over, searching for any clue that could expose her attackers. Next, they began digital tracking, tracing the phone and devices that were stolen from the victims with the help of Giga Forensics. This is like a digital intelligence company that works with Nigerian law enforcement. Basically, they are the tech arms of Nigerian police system that helps police connect the digital dots. And with them involved, the puzzle began to take shape. And within days, 12 suspected armed robbers were arrested by the Scorpion Squad under the FCT Police Command. Some were caught through phone tracking, others were caught during their next planned operation. And during interrogation, Samsudeen Hassan, confessed to shooting the security guard, Barnabas Dalami, who had bravely tried to stop them from entering the compound. Another suspect, Sani Saricho, claimed he had tried to stop Sommie from falling down the building, but he said she was too heavy and couldn't hold her. Each suspect admitted to receiving 200,000 naira as their share of the robbery, and that's approximately 138 American dollars only. Further investigation led police to the gang's weapon stash in Abuja.
We have recovered one constructed AK around Zumaro, where it was hidden by Sani and some of his gang members.
Recovered items include shotgun, pistol, axe, and knives. This is the direct images displayed on your screen. However, there will be blurred due to community guidelines. They also recovered a Honda CR-V belonging to one of the victims. This same vehicle the robbers had used to escape and pack the stolen items. By this point, all arrested suspects had confessed to their roles in the crime. But even then, the case wasn't over. Efforts were still underway to hunt down the remaining fugitives, those who ran and those who thought they could hide. Sommie's blood cries for justice.
This is not just arrest. It doesn't stop there. These suspects will definitely and most definitely be prosecuted as soon as we wrap up our investigation. Justice must be served. Ms. Somtochukwu and Mr. Barnabas must get justice.
The death of Sommie was more than just tragic. It was heart-shattering. A young, brilliant woman, as Nyson Weekend described.
In the days that followed, the nation mourned. Across cities and states, gatherings were held in her honor, from Port Harcourt to Abuja and even abroad. Her home in Port Harcourt was open for constant visit. So was the Arise News office, which became a space for remembrance. Then came the official gatherings, moments where grief turned public and stories became memorials. On Sunday, 12th of October, an evening of tribute was held at the This Day Dome, hosted by the Arise News family. Friends, relatives, and colleagues of Sommie came from across Abuja and beyond. Dignitaries like Adams Oshomole and others, as the hall was filled with quiet tears and trembling voices. One after another, they all spoke of her energy, her ambition, and the unbearable pain of a life cut short at its brightest moments.
The beauty I had seen 4 days before that found safety in the same apartment that was attacked. I sat on that balcony every night, enjoying the views of the night sky, unknowing you'd add to that beauty in a little while. I sent messages when I heard the news, hoping you'd somehow reply. But I saw one tick. That was when it hit me. That was when I began to cry.
The next major gathering was Service of Song on Wednesday the 15th of October, which was held in a renowned church hall in Port Harcourt. The choir sang hymn after hymn, echoing through the hall. Family, co-workers, and former classmates shared heartfelt stories of Sommie, from students to senior lawyers. Everyone had a story to tell about Sommie, and yet, beneath every tribute, was the same question whispered through tears. Why did her journey have to end so soon? And then the final gathering. On Saturday, the 18th of August, she was finally laid to rest in her hometown of Agulu, Anambra State. The community gathered under a heavy grieving sky as the funeral mass came to an end.
Slowly, the casket was lowered into the earth. Her friends, family, and colleagues from the Arise News were all present, with their eyes wet with tears and covered with dark shades. Among them was the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, who came to pay his last respects. And then the moment of final farewell, from dust to dust. Her father, Mr. Chukwudi Maduagwu, stepped forward with a shovel in his hand. But as he tried to pour the sand, the weight of grief froze his hands mid-air. Standing right behind him was Peter Obi, who gently held his hands and helped him complete the ritual. Cries broke through the silence. The sound of sorrow filled the skies as countless mourners stood under the scorching sun, unwilling to leave, unwilling to believe. Later that evening, Peter Obi made a heartfelt post about Sommie's burial.
He expressed deep sadness over her tragic death, explaining that he had flown in from the UK just to stand in with her family. His word touched many hearts, though some critics accused him of turning her tragedy into a moment of politics. But for those who witnessed that moment, the pain in his eyes said otherwise. Then, it was a few days after her burial, the FCT Police Command released a statement announcing that several suspects connected to her murder had been apprehended, promising justice for Sommie. But even as justice drew closer, it could not undo the past. A vibrant and brilliant life had been cut short. A rising star, a voice that carried the promise of a new generation, silenced too soon. Her light was meant to shine for Nigeria, but instead it became a candle we can now hold in remembrance. Rest in peace, Somtochukwu Christelle Maduagwu and Barnabas Dalami. For more real crime stories like this, subscribe to this channel and check out our other uploads. See you next time on Dark Truth Africa.